My 17-year-old daughter was excluded from my sister's wedding for being too young. I didn't protest. I simply said we wouldn't be going. But when Christmas rolled around, I made one subtle change, and the whole family erupted. My name is Claire, and I'm the eldest of 3 sisters. Growing up, that meant I had to be the reliable one, the helper, the babysitter, the one who stepped in when our parents were exhausted or preoccupied. I didn't really mind, at least not in the beginning. That's just how things were. Tessa, the middle child, was the entertainer, always drawing eyes and attention. Rachel, the youngest, was the baby of the family, the one who got away with everything. I was the one left cleaning up their messes. As I got older and became a mother myself, some things shifted, though not as much as I'd hoped. I adopted my daughter Maya when she was just 3. She had these wide, solemn eyes and a quiet way of watching everything, like she wasn't sure the world could be trusted. I still remember the first time she called me Mom. I cried in the car after dropping her off at preschool. From day one, I made her a promise that she'd never feel like she didn't belong in our family, that she'd always be wanted. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't keep that promise. Tessa got engaged last spring. There was a big announcement, a giant diamond, and an even bigger Instagram post. I congratulated her, of course. Maya even made her a handmade card, cut out little wedding bells, and glued them on with way too much glitter. Tessa said it was sweet, then left it in the back seat of her car. I found it there 2 weeks later, partially crushed beneath a Starbucks cup. Still, Maya was looking forward to the wedding. She started browsing dresses online, asking if she should wear her hair up or down. I could tell she was a little anxious, but there was hope in her eyes. She just wanted to feel part of it. Then the invitation arrived in the mail. It was one of those expensive types. Heavy paper, gold trim, the kind you'd expect to cost more than my monthly water bill. I opened it at the kitchen counter while Maya was working on her homework at the table. It had the usual details: location, attire, RSVP link. And then I saw it. Adults only, 18 plus, strictly enforced, no exceptions. I read it twice, thinking maybe I'd overlooked something, but I hadn't. Maya noticed the look on my face before I even spoke. She glanced up from her notebook and asked, "She doesn't want me there." I replied, "It's an 18-plus wedding." She went quiet for a moment, then asked, "Is it because I'm adopted?" That question cracked something inside me. She said it so matter-of-factly, like it was just something she'd come to accept. I told her no, of course not. But I understood exactly what she meant. It wasn't the first time something like this had happened. Not this exact situation, but other moments. Little comments that slid under the radar. Once my mom introduced Maya as Claire's girl, never our granddaughter. Tessa would refer to her as your daughter, like she was talking about the kid next door. At family gatherings, Maya would offer to help in the kitchen, and no one would even acknowledge her. I tried to believe it was unintentional, that they didn't mean anything by it. But this time, it was clear I didn't fight. I didn't yell. I just went online and clicked. Not attending. No explanation. Just no. I thought that would be the end of it. The next day, Tessa texted me, "Hey, just saw your RSVP. Is everything okay?" Then a follow-up. "If this is about the age thing, I hope you understand. We're being super consistent with everyone. Nothing personal, right? Not personal. Except that Maya is her niece and she's 17, not 7. Not 7. I didn't answer. Then Rachel messaged me. Tessa said, "You're not coming. Like, what's going on then?" My mom called. She never calls me just to talk, so I picked up, already bracing myself. "Claire," she said, I heard you're not going to the wedding. Is this really about the age limit? I said, why is not invited? I'm not going without her. She's almost 18. My mom said, it's not like she's a little kid. She's family. There was a pause. Don't punish your sister over this. It's one night I didn't argue. I just said, we're not going, and hung up. That should have been it. But then came the group chat messages, the guilt, the little comments. That weren't even subtle. Rachel can't believe you're making such a big deal over one rule you always have to cause drama. Maya's not the only one not coming. This isn't about her. You're making it about her. My mom sent a long message about family unity and forgiveness, about how we've all made sacrifices, about how it's hard being in the middle. I didn't respond. Maya deleted the dress photos from her phone. She stopped talking about the wedding. She didn't cry, but I think that's what hurt me the most. How unsurprised she was she'd already learned. What I spent too long trying to ignore. So when Christmas came around and no one had apologized or even brought it up, I made a quiet decision. I didn't invite them, no big announcement, no blow up, just silence. And that's what made them really angry. If you'd asked me 10 years ago what I thought motherhood would look like, I would have said birthday parties, messy hugs, glitter on the carpet. I wouldn't have said trying to protect a child from people who claim to love you both. When Maya came into my life, she was 3 years old and heartbreakingly serious. Big brown eyes, soft curls, and a quiet stare that made you feel like she was memorizing everything you said, just in case she needed it to survive you. She didn't warm up quickly. She didn't giggle on cue. She didn't run into my arms like a movie scene. But when she finally reached for my hand in the grocery store, without being asked, I cried in the parking lot for 10 minutes. My husband Ethan was the one who said that was the moment she chose you. And I've been choosing her every day since. But my family never quite knew what to do with her. At first, I chalked it up to awkwardness adjusting. Barely. She didn't have my eyes. She didn't carry my last name yet. She didn't jump into conversations. At holidays the way the other kids did. But it was more than that. It was the way my mom referred to her as the little one instead of Maya. The way Tessa once asked, "Are you going to tell her she's adopted when she's older?" When Maya was standing right there, the way Rachel's kids got Easter baskets from our parents with personalized names, while Maya got a generic one with a happy spring tag, wasn't overt. It was quieter than that. Softer, easier to excuse if you wanted to, but Maya noticed. She always noticed. I tried to be patient. I really did. I explained. I redirected. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. When Maya was 6, she told my dad she wanted to be an artist. He smiled and said, "You'll need something more practical than that." When she was 8, she drew a picture of our family, me, Ethan, and her, and gave it to my mom. My mom smiled, said, "Thank you," then set it down and never mentioned it again. Maya asked later why it wasn't on the fridge. Like the other cousins' drawings, I didn't know what to say. The first time I really lost my patience was Rachel's engagement party. Maya was 12, Rachel had invited of sortus. We were added to a mass text with a time, date, and venue. "No, can't wait to see you." No personal message, but we went anyway because I thought this is how we change it. We keep showing up. Maya wore a pale blue dress and these little silver flats. She picked out herself. She was nervous, kept asking if she looked okay, if she could stay close to me at the party. Rachel greeted us with a tight smile and a hi, then turned to hug the next person without asking Mia anything. No compliment. "No, you look so grown up." Just air. We stayed for 20 minutes, maybe 25. Maya stuck to my side the entire time. On the way home, she said, "I don't think she likes me." I said, "She doesn't know you." She said she's had 10 years, and I didn't have an answer for that. The thing is, I don't think they ever fully accepted that Maya wasn't temporary. It's like some part of them thought I'd eventually have a real child. And this would become a sweet chapter, something they could refer to as when Claire fostered that little girl. They never said it out loud. They didn't have to. Last year, for Maya's 16th birthday, we rented a space at the community center and decorated it with her artwork, her idea. She didn't want some big party with loud music. She wanted to hang her paintings, serve cupcakes, and invite the people who'd supported her. She made the invitations herself, sent them out to family, friends, and a few teachers. Rachel didn't come. Neither did Tessa. My parents showed up 30 minutes late and brought a card that said to a sweet girl with a $20 bill tucked inside, "May I thank them? She's always polite afterwards." She didn't say much, just helped clean up, put her canvases back in the car. But later that night when we were home and the dishes were done, I found one of her sketches. It was a drawing of the three of us, her, me, and Ethan at the party, but our faces were blank. I think that's when I stopped hoping they'd change. Not because of the card or the late arrival or the lack of effort, but because it didn't even hurt Maya anymore. Not in the same way she'd stopped being surprised. And that scared me more than anything. So when the wedding invitation never came, not even a phone call or a conversation, just a silent exclusion, I knew what I had to do. I didn't beg, I didn't plead or try to negotiate. I simply told Maya we wouldn't be attending. She didn't shed a tear, just nodded quietly and said, "Okay." Later that night, she asked me, "Do you think they even realize we didn't go?" I told her yes, because she needed to feel like she mattered, even if they didn't act like she did. While the wedding weekend unfolded, we stayed home. Ethan made French toast for breakfast. Maya spent the afternoon painting in the sunroom, and I actually finished a book from start to finish. It wasn't an act of rebellion. It wasn't some grand protest. It was simply peace. And honestly, at first it felt foreign. That kind of silence makes you realize just how much noise you've grown used to over the years. I didn't miss the wedding. I didn't find myself wondering about the ceremony or what flowers they chose or whether the cake turned out. I thought about Maya instead, about how for so long she searched for their approval in every conversation, every holiday, every single family gathering, and how little by little they taught her not to expect it. Then I thought about the next holiday. For years I had hosted Christmas out of duty, inviting them, feeding them, pretending their hollow smiles were enough. But this year, I decided not to. This year, I wanted something different. In early December, Ethan asked, "Should I go ahead and order the folding chairs?" I shook my head. No extra seats this time. He didn't question it. Maya didn't either. Then the family group chat lit up with, "Who's bringing dessert to Claire's this year? Should we arrive the night before like usual?" I didn't answer. I just let the messages pile up unopened. I didn't make an announcement that I wasn't hosting Christmas. There was no dramatic speech, no bold social media post telling everyone to find another place for their passive-aggressive holiday cheer. I just stayed quiet. And somehow that silence became the loudest thing I'd ever done. Around December 15th, the messages started changing tone. Rachel wrote, "Claire, are we still doing Christmas Eve dinner at your place? Let me know what I should bring." Then Tessa chimed in, "We'll be 5 again. Let me know if Maya wants anything specific this year, if she's even going to be there this time." That one nearly broke me. If she's even going to be there this time. Like Maya was the issue. Like she was the one who failed instead of the one who was deliberately left out. And for the first time in years, I didn't reply. I didn't scrub the house from top to bottom. I didn't pre-order a roast. I didn't haul out the extra folding chairs or drag the big dining table leaf from the garage. And when no one got a response, they started calling. First, it was my mom. I let it ring. Then Rachel, then Tessa, then my dad, who left a voicemail. Claire, we just want to know what's going on. Your mother's upset. It's not too late to do the right thing. The right thing? As if opening my home to people who excluded my daughter was the righteous choice. As if feeding them could somehow fix the things they refused to even name. We didn't host anyone that year. Instead, Ethan and I made lasagna in our pajamas while Maya baked sugar cookies, shapes barely holding together. We stayed in, watched movies, opened presents early. We laughed more than we had in months. And for once, our holiday actually felt like home. No one walked on eggshells. No one had to translate pointed comments. No one got quiet when Maya entered the room. It was just us. And that's when the messages started to change. December 26th. Tessa in the group chat. I just think it's sad. We've all tried to welcome Maya, but Claire has made it impossible to connect with her. Rachel, if you cut off family every time there's a disagreement, you'll end up with no one. Dad, the way you're handling this is cruel. I'm sorry, but it is. My mom sent me a photo of the Christmas tree at their house with the caption, "It wasn't the same without you." Maya would have loved her gifts. I didn't reply because they weren't gifts for Maya. They were guilt-wrapped invitations to come back and pretend everything was fine, and I'd done that for too long. A few days later, we got a card in the mail. No return address, but I knew the handwriting inside my mother had written, "I wish you'd think about the example you're setting. Maya will see how easily you shut people out." That line stuck with me, because I realize that's exactly what I want her to see. Not that love is disposable, but that love, real love, doesn't ask you to shrink yourself. It doesn't ask you to sit quietly while the people around you pretend your pain is too uncomfortable to acknowledge. Maya didn't ask about the messages, but I know she saw the tension. She's never been one to ask directly. She just watches, absorbs, like she's still trying to figure out which parts of the world are safe. One night, she was curled up on the couch with a blanket over her legs, sketching something. She paused, then said, "If I wasn't adopted, do you think they'd like me more?" The question hit harder than any of the text. I sat down beside her. "Sweetheart, I said they'd probably pretend better, but the way they treat people who aren't like them, that was never about you." She looked at me with those same serious eyes from the day I met her and said, "I don't think I want them to like me anymore." And that was the moment I stopped waiting for an apology. A few days later, my father called again. I let it ring. Then he texted, "Your mother's not sleeping. She feels like she's lost you. We know we messed up, but that doesn't justify shutting everyone out. That's not who you are." I stared at that line for a long time. That's not who you are. I used to wonder about that. Used to question whether I was being too cold, too sensitive, too harsh. But now I think this is who I am. Someone who finally knows what she will and won't tolerate. Someone who knows that keeping peace at the expense of your child's dignity isn't noble. It's cowardice dressed up as tradition. The final straw came from Tessa. She sent a voice memo, one of those rambling ones, where people try to sound calm, but every sentence has a knife tucked inside. I just think it's sad, Claire. You always made such a big deal about how much you love Maya, but now it feels like you're using her as a shield. Like anytime someone doesn't treat her like royalty, you cut them out. That's not healthy. That's not parenting. That's obsession. I didn't listen to the rest. I deleted the message and blocked her number. Because if loving Maya fiercely, completely is seen as obsession in their world, then yes, I'm obsessed. I'm wildly, unapologetically obsessed with protecting the person who needed me the most. And nothing they say will make me regret. That New Year's came and went quietly. Maya fell asleep before midnight with a half-eaten cookie on the couch. Ethan and I toasted with tea instead of champagne and watched fireworks on mute. He looked at me and said, "Do you miss them?" I thought about it. "No," I said. "I miss the idea of them, but that version never really existed." He nodded, didn't say anything more. Just reached for my hand. I don't know what will happen next. I'm sure they'll keep trying people like that. Don't go quietly. There will be more texts, more posts. Maybe one of them will show up at Maya's graduation next year, acting like nothing happened. But I've made my decision. There's no big showdown coming. No dramatic confrontation. Just quiet distance. And sometimes that's the most powerful choice of all. It happened on a Thursday. Cold, overcast, quiet. I had just come home from work, still in my coat. When the doorbell rang, I wasn't expecting anyone. Ethan was working late. Maya was upstairs preparing a portfolio project for her college applications. I opened the door and there they were. My parents standing on my porch like it was still 2007 and we were pretending nothing ever went wrong. My mom had a Tupperware container in her hands. I think they were oatmeal cookies, her specialty. Soft in the middle, slightly burnt around the edges, the kind she used to make when I was little. "Claire," she said with a breathy little smile, "we thought we'd stop by." I didn't say anything at first, just stared at the container in her hands, like it might be booby-trapped. My dad shifted beside her. "Can we come in just for a minute?" "No," I said. There was a pause. Surprise, maybe, but not long enough to matter. My mom tried to recover with another warm tone. "We just wanted to talk. Things got heated, but we're still your family." She offered the cookies like a peace treaty. I didn't take them. That's when the smile started to falter. "You don't have to be like this," she said, her voice tightening. "We know it's been hard raising a teenager. Pushing everyone else away," my dad added. "We tried to be patient. We gave you space, but this you're going to lose your real family over a girl who's going to leave in a few months." My stomach clenched. "She's 17, my mom said softly. "She'll go off to college soon. And then what? You'll be alone. You'll regret this." I could hear the words underneath the words. This wasn't about reconciling. This was about control. And then my mother said it. The thing I think she'd always believed deep down. "I'm sorry, Claire, but she's not blood. She's not really one of us." She said it gently, like she was doing me a favor, like she expected me to nod and say, "You're right. I lost my way." Instead, I took a deep breath, stepped back, and said, "You need to leave right now." My dad looked taken aback. "Claire, no," I said louder. "You don't get to come here with cookies and pity and act like this is kindness. You don't get to insult my daughter to my face and then wonder why I'm not inviting you in. You're going to regret this," my mom said again, her voice cracking now. "When she leaves you, when she forgets about you, you'll see. Our door will still be open. You'll come back. You'll realize we were right." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it until I couldn't hear their footsteps anymore. I told Maya the next day. I wasn't going to. I didn't want her to carry their poison, but I've never lied to her. Not about anything important. She sat very still while I told her what they said about her leaving, about not being blood, about me crawling back one day. She didn't cry, but I could see it in her hands, how tightly she clenched them in her lap, how her shoulders stiffened. "They really think I'll leave you," she said. "No, I said they hope you will that way. I'll meet them again." She nodded slowly. "They don't get to hope things about me," she said. I thought that would be the end of it. I should have known. Better, because a week later, my cousin Sarah forwarded me an email that Rachel had sent to the extended family. It was long, rambling, passive-aggressive, in the way only Rachel could be. But the point was clear. She told them I had abandoned the family for a girl who manipulated her way into Claire's life and isolated her from everyone else. She implied Maya had been difficult, distant, and ungrateful, that my relationship with her was unhealthy, that I was obsessed with protecting her from imaginary slight. It was vile and worse. It worked. People started reaching out. Aunt Linda sent me a text asking if everything was okay. Uncle John reached out to Ethan to see if I was having some kind of breakdown. Then my second cousin, Chloe, left a comment under one of Maya's art posts. "You're very lucky. Don't forget who gave you a home." Maya saw it, and I saw her see it. That was the final straw. I didn't write back. Instead, I compiled everything. Screenshots, old messages, photos, every unanswered invite, every moment of exclusion, every receipt I had saved over the years. I put it together like a case file. Not emotional, not bitter, just facts. Then I wrote a letter. No anger, no theatrics, just the truth. I sent it out once to our extended family only with the subject line for those who wanted the full story. I didn't ask them to take sides. I didn't beg for apologies. I simply gave them the truth. Some replied, others didn't. A few quietly unfriended Rachel. Some refused to believe a word. But that didn't matter, because I wasn't doing this for them. I was doing it for Maya. So she'd never doubt what really happened. So she'd never have to wonder, do you think they'd like me more if I were blood? After that, I blocked everyone who tried to argue. Everyone who said, maybe if you just talked it through. Everyone who believed that preserving peace was more important than protecting a child from emotional neglect masked as family values. We never heard from them again, at least not directly. I'm sure they still talk about us. I'm probably still the story they tell when someone brings up difficult children. I'm sure Maya's name still comes up in clipped, judgmental tones. Let them say what they want. They gave up their right to know her. Fast forward. Maya's in college. Now. She's in an art program in top of her class. She still calls me every night. Not because she has to, just because she wants to. She sends me pictures of her sketches. Sometimes she asks for my thoughts. Sometimes she just wants to say good night. When I dropped her off at her dorm, she hugged me for a full minute and whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." She may have meant it physically, but I knew what she truly meant. People like to say you can't choose your family, but I did. I chose her over blood, over guilt, over decades of inherited silence. And if anyone's still waiting for me to come, crawling back, let them wait. Every now and then I think about that moment on the porch, my mother handing me that box of cookies, as if sugar could erase years of silence, as if baked goods could fix everything they were too afraid to speak aloud. And sometimes in the quiet of night I asked myself, Did I overreact? Should I have been more patient, stayed quieter, extended more grace? But then I remember Maya's face the day I told her, they don't get to treat you like that. I remember the way she held on to me when we said goodbye at college. And most of all, I remember the promise I made, the one no one ever made to me when I was a child, that I would choose her every single time. Do you think I did the right thing? Let